Morning everyone, 9G Studios 25018. And once again, good morning everyone. Hopefully I can edit out my mistakes this morning, but I decided to record this and call it the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday moment. This particular vehicle I purchased, it had a lot of customization already done to it, but yet it needs more work, more love. Let's call it that. Just needs more love. So in today's WTF moment, we're going to talk about electrical wiring. DUAMAX diesel trucks and all you LMM guys and gals out there, and having to depin and unwire a vehicle is not easy. It's not a fun thing to do. You can't find too many people that are interested in doing such a thing in a shop. The builder of this project paid a shop to do the modifications to put the cab on the front of a 2009 DUAMAX Express Cutaway. Wasn't a bad idea. It did allow for a lot of things on a CABOVER truck that you wouldn't normally find, but the wiring, every single wire that went to the cab, let's walk over here, every single wire in the cab was extended 10 feet. And their choice of wire was maybe 6 different colors. And so when I got my hands on it, even the cab's inside cab under seat fuse box was still attached to it. The body control module was still attached to it, and all of it was driven. Let me back up. Sorry for the confusion. It was ran along this line right here, this plate right here I added so I can try to clean up how the wire's gonna go. But it was all knotted up and driven across the top. And if you haven't seen an earlier video, it was tucked up inside this hole, including the OBD2 sensor. And so this was the only connector that was connecting it to the, I think it's the X200 or 100, one of those two. Don't quote me on it, I'm not an expert, but I had to depin the whole thing because they ran it up through here and then down through this hole and around to the other side to where it came down to this hole, and then came along the side and top of the frame back to where they moved the batteries over there. Some of the other strange and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday moments was a really cool Corsi, shut-off switch, but they wired it with 2 negative wires and stuck them on the battery. The other interesting thing was that this particular wire went to the right side front of the engine, and in where the batteries, one of the batteries used to be, and they, instead of replacing the whole wire, they just decided to grab a new one and run a bolt through it. Not ideally what I would do, but so all this mess right here took hours to go through and tag each and every one of them. And then once I got all that done, I could sit down and go through all of the pinout sheets that were available on Before You Ask, all data, DIY. And went through and found the cables And so I still have some more troubleshooting to do. Not really a great idea to take all of your accelerator wires and make them all yellow. Not really sure what's going on with these. They go to a variety of different locations, either on the connector here on the side of the engine or back to the fuse block in that where the firewall would have been. It served a purpose at one point that all they did was take all of that electronics and sit them on top of this metal plate and attach them, but it exposes your engine, because what does heat do? Come on, folks. Thank you. Heat rises. And so, not really sure I like where I put this, but it is further away from the engine than it was. But there was points doing this kind of work that the heat had exposed, and you couldn't tell whether some of these wires were light blue or white, stuff like that. So what else can I tell you about the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday moments of this thing? The cooling turbo cooler portions ran over the top of the radiator and then down in front of the radiator and had cardboard between the pipe and the radiator, and then went out front like it's supposed to be. But most of the radiator was being blocked. So I needed to move that. What else? The air cooler came up right here, okay? You can see there's your other turbo line where it went out and went down. You can see that's your transmission and your oil dipsticks. But the interesting thing is that the only way you can check that and your brake reservoir is if you tilt this whole thing forward. So my goal is to make an access panel up here so I can, and of course down here, so that I can go through and service the engine without having to lift this puppy. It's heavy, and why is it heavy? It's because if you get one of these, they weren't designed to have a whole lot of styrofoam or spray foam put on them for insulation, okay? They had this cheap, thin stuff that didn't last very long. Don't know if it's asbestos or not from 1964, but hey, you know. And then they went in and they put down, you know, sheets of insulation under the carpet. That adds weight. They attempted to do it up on the roof, another WTF moment. Apparently it fell down. And so I'll fix that at a later date. It was fun driving it back over here. Oh yeah, it runs. Yeah, I'm not kidding, it runs. But the fun part is that the oil canning effect, sorry for my finger, oil canning, which means that the metal kept popping and fluctuating in the wind and stuff. I was told by the owner, very little, he thought it just needed a front end alignment. You wear out your front suspension. If some of my 4x4 friends will tell you, you put big ass tires on the front of something, you wear your ball joints and everything out, so that all has to be inspected. But what most people don't realize is if you're going to airbag the back and four-link it, and your sway bar is broken, and your panhard bar is loose, or in this case, a Watts link, you heard me say it, a Watts link is loose, you have a tendency to do some oversteering in the turns because the thing wants to push you straight ahead when you're trying to make a left, in this case, because one side of the sway bar was broken, made it challenging. What else? Oh, and what the hell, I guess, you know, if I had, I guess if I say anything more, I'll have policemen pulling me over and asking me if my seats are bolted down, because they weren't. So, shh. Anyways, this might take me a few more months to work some of the bugs out of it and get it cleaned up, but it is a really cool project. I won't take that away from the designer or the builder. They had something in mind. Not sure if the airbags in the back, there's more research. When you buy something like this, folks, let me tell you, and they don't tell you a whole lot other than it's a DUAMAX and it's, you know, truck, and it's, you know, very little information. You wind up spending a whole lot of time doing research, chasing down serial numbers, part numbers, inspecting it from head to tail. Did I inspect it before I bought it? Hell yeah. Only enough to where I knew I could get it home, okay? And how much work was involved. So if I could get it home, I accepted the challenge. And therefore, challenge accepted. Hopefully you'll see it here in a car show soon with some of the other projects that are being built around here. But yeah, that kind of wraps up a very long and lengthy Wednesday, Thursday, Friday segment. And I'm sure there's more. And we'll tell you about those at a later video. How's that? All right, folks. Get out there, turn some wrenches, and don't be afraid. I'll talk to you later. Bye.